It's always important to get off on a good start.
Guess what, boys? FNC is back for the summer of 2016!
If you are kind of team that tends to tilt or maybe play a bit on emotions, starting strong is good.
정말 매우 중요할 것 같고요. 그걸 이기면 기세를 충분히 많이 탈 것 같아요.
G2 obliterate elements.
We were sure that Olaf top was a good pick against Lissandra and their team comp.
He sees him coming, and he should just... play! I don't believe it! Amazing!
It's really important to win your first games on stage, to get that confidence going.
Unicorns of Love, they take the first win!
It's not only for us, it would also demoralize other teams.
It's all about how much hard work we put in.
We're all quite kind of confident in our abilities to make a turnaround.
Most important is who will be on top in the long run.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our coverage of the European League of Legends Championship Series. We're only halfway through week 1, and the hype is up for what's to come in the spring split. You're getting a glimpse of the crowd here in our studio in Berlin. I don't think I've ever seen them that pumped. They're ready to go. And so are the Unicorns of Love, of course, coming after a fantastic victory in the first game with their new lineup yesterday. And there, the fans coming inside here just a couple of minutes ago, entering the studio. The Giants as well, getting all geared up for their first match. And they're Debonair, Ezreal, and the UOL Soraka with cheese as the staff. That is amazing.
Bananas all day, I hope.
Yep, let's hope so. I'm EpicSkillshot supporter here to break down all of today's competition with the help of Mitch Kreppel-Voorspoels and Trevor Quickshot Henry. If we think about day one, things were going fast when teams got a lead. They managed to pull it out extremely quickly and keep building on that, which is very impressive.
It really was, especially for teams that we weren't sure quite how well the communication and the strategy was going to be. You know, a lot of very one-sided victories. Once a team got ahead, they stayed ahead. And the teams that did close games out very effectively used Baron very well. We took a look at some of the Baron power play stats, and the Baron power play is the definition of the amount of gold that the team with Baron earns more than their opponents for as long as the Baron buff is active. And as we looked at some of the numbers in this very small number of games and sample size, yesterday was around 4,500 average gold more than their opponents during power play. The summer split average in Europe was 3,200. So just for the few times we did see it yesterday, it was a marked improvement. And I'm just very impressed with how teams used their leads to win games.
Yeah, and just in general, there was a lot better macro than is expected in week 1 of a split. Usually macro gets developed, you know, as these teams get used to playing with each other, a lot of new teams. And that was mainly down to the really good split pushing, the 1-3-1s. We saw some 4-1s. We had a couple of really nice examples here of 1-3-1. Or just split pushing in general, like UOL, they got Fox ahead, rotated him in the bot lane. Suddenly Tom Kench rotates with the support carry on, and they completely dismantled supplies. There were a couple other examples, and it was actually quite interesting to see that teams had this level of communication, and already they mastered the art of split pushing really, and they left teams very little counterplay. So what I want to see more right now is teams that are being set up on being split pushed upon, they need to nip it in the bud. If you don't really shut down split push in the start phase, then you have no way out. You have no counterplay, because if you move left, for example, and you try and kill one guy, well, they'll take the other side of your base. So you really need to stop that early, make some picks, make use of that limited vision on the map, and try and counterplay that way.
And I'm excited to see how these teams bounce back. The teams that have lost to split push and the teams that are winning with split push. Do they diversify? Do they stick with the winning formula? Or do we see different strategies? So a lot of exciting things after day one.
I will see if the teams can bounce back, because after day 1 of the competition, 5 teams lead the other 5 by 1 game, logically. And some maybe surprises seeing in the top of the table. G2 Esports, Roccat, even the Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, G2 Esports at the top of the table, but that's kind of actually expected for them, because they play Roccat and Elements this week, and if they really want to aspire to be a middle-of-the-pack team, those have to be must-win matches because there's a lot tougher competition in that pack. Think of Vitality once they kind of get on the road, H2K, Fnatic, Origin once they bounce back.
And Splice as well. I mean, Vitality and Splice both disappointed, I feel, for day one expectations. But, you know, we keep saying it's the first game of 18. There's a long season to go. So we'll see how they bounce back and adapt.
A long season indeed, and the 10 teams will continue to fight for positions today, starting with Giants and the Unicorns of Love is up there. Then I'm looking forward to H2K Origin as well. A lot of good matchups here.
Vitality. I have to see what they're going to do against Fnatic. Yesterday, Fnatic had a very good runaway victory and they closed it out effectively. Let's see if Vitality can slow them down and also bounce back.
Yeah, if H2K can play the same clean style that they did yesterday, OG may actually get in troubles again, especially since, you know, they had limited practice as well. They weren't looking too sharp yesterday. They didn't really have a grasp on the meta as much. So if that happens again, well, we may see Origin, who were the favorites for the #1 position this split, start 0-2, but I wouldn't write them out just yet. I still think Origin are very likely to end up winning the split.
Definitely nobody written off, and as we see the field of teams take to the Rift for the second time this year, we want to know which player impressed you the most on day one and why. And with the new year comes a brand new hashtag, so be sure to tweet your answers at LOL Esports with the hashtag EULCS for us to check in with them. Any standout players after day one for you guys?
Trick. Jungle Graves coming out from G2, you know, replacing Kikis in the jungle after the qualifying, etc. Very impressed. I just think he was in the right place at the right time. Great pressure and stand-up performance.
Yeah, Fnatic go through a rebuilding phase, and then suddenly their top laner appears to be
another huge carry.
Korean hard carry. I mean, we've seen it before. No ho. I wonder what comes out of Gamsu for this season.
Gamsu.
Yeah, Gamsu definitely impressed. He did get help from the team. He did get help from Amazing, missing every Q, but he still carried really hard.
We'll see. Well, with the 2016 season comes a lot of new faces like Gamsu, like Trick, but some of Europe's most veteran players have gone elsewhere, leaving their legacies behind. For a look at the league by the numbers, we're going to check in with James Stress O'Leary.
Thank you very much, Shucks. And as we head into the 4th year of the European LCS, we wanted to take a look at some of the most seasoned players that we've ever had, and now who is remaining in the 2016 split as we go into the year. Keep in mind, all of these stats only include regular season games, so no playoff games and no games from Worlds either. But I think the best place to start when it comes to veteran status is games played in their career. And you can see this is the top 10 list of players of all time that have ever played here in Europe. We've highlighted 3 players, Froggen, Yellowstar, Svenskeren, no longer on the European stage. They've gone over to North America for this split. And when you look at European players that started in 2013, there's a couple of interesting numbers. This year, there are 7 active European players remaining that started in 2013 here in Europe. Over in America, there are 6 European players from 2013, and 5 of those 6 moved over to North America in this off-season. So that is really where this mass exodus has come from. It's all the players that have been in Europe for a very long time. But what about the players that stayed here in Europe? That's what I want to look at next. And we're going to take a look at the top 10 here when you look at remaining veteran players. This is players that are starting in 2016. So anybody that retired or moved to another region is not listed here. Take a look at number 9 here, Mr. Rales. Over on the left-hand side, you see their overall ranking, plus their change when we remove all of the retired and you know, players that have gone elsewhere. Mr. Rales moves up 12 spots to 9th here with 86 games played. And the reason I've highlighted him is he's a player that hasn't really stood out as a pillar yet of the European LCS, especially when you look at AD carries. So maybe 2016 is Mr. Rales' time to shine. But, you know, games played is all well and good. Everybody always talks about the kills. Who's carrying the hardest? Who's doing the best? And here's your top 10 all time. Every player that's played in Europe. Highlighting number 2, Froggen. Again, he's gone from Europe, but 1 game shy of the #1 spot that XPeke currently holds. And Froggen played 18 more games in Europe. Now he's gone to America. He's not going to be able to take that #1 spot anytime soon. But looking at 2016, who is challenging for #1? That's what I want to look at. And when you look at it, unsurprisingly, Reckless is up at number 2, moves up 2 spots. But the key thing here is, with XPeke not starting every single game here for the Unicorns as we're expecting, and Reckless having a higher kill per game, Reckless is on track for that #1 spot potentially at the end of this season. Kills are all well and good. It's also about those silent helpers in the background. We're only going to look at current assists right now because all-time Yellowstar's just by far and away all the way up there. And the story so far seemed to be all about how many games you played. Well, that's why we highlighted Kasing, 8th on the list, only 48 games played in total, and that's half of everybody else that's around him, and he's already making his way onto this list. So, a bright future perhaps for the Vitality support after a rough start to the season. Take note, Diamondprox right up at the top here. He's the league leader, and, you know, he's one of those old faces that is still in the European scene. We've had a lot of new blood come in. We've still got the veterans. Let's hear from Diamondprox, who is the league leader for assists and also for games played here in Europe.